What are the philosophical principles and objectives of CAO DAI?
The second question is philosophical principles and objectives of CAO DAI. We have two principles in CAO DAI. First is oneness between God and everything in the universe. And second, love and justice. I will address first the oneness between God and everything in the universe. In creating the universe, the Supreme Being shared His Spirit with everything in the universe, from material, plants, animals, and humans. We all have the Spirit of God inside ourselves, which is called differently, like Christ Himself, Buddha nature, Atman in Hinduism, Naf-i-Mamana in Islam, Tiểu Linh Quang, or Little Sacred Light in CAO DAI, and commonly called conscience. We may all discover this spirit in ourselves and work to be united with the Supreme Being or the Divine. Those principles are well taught in the message from the Supreme Being. I, your master, am you, my children, and you are me. The first part, I am you, means that God is present in each one of us to guide us to live a good and virtuous, meaningful life according to love and justice, to realize the peace in humanity. The second part, you are me, means that with the cultivation, we may become God, unify with God, or enlightened. From the principle of oneness, we may understand the nature of the Supreme Being through CAO DAI cosmology. In a holy message, the Supreme Being said, in the cosmic ether appear the great source of divine light called Tiger, monad, or the Supreme Being. The monad then created yin and yang energies, âm quang, yin energy, and dương quang, yang energy. Yin is heavy, dark, cold, dense, negative, inactive, while yang is clear, bright, warm, pure, positive, active. Yin and yang energies interact with each other in order to form the heavens and universe. And after creating the universe, God shared a part of His Spirit to create everything in the universe from material, plants, animals, and humans. We should understand that everything emanates out of God's Spirit, and where there is life, there is God. And God is a progenitor of life. God is life. CAO DAI used the all-seeing eye, the symbol of the new face, to represent the Supreme Being. The meaning of the all-seeing eye was the heart manifest at the eye. Presiding everything are two sources of light, yin and yang energy, corresponding to electron and proton in science. Light is spirit. Spirit is God. The conclusion is that the Supreme Being is the light and is called in CAO DAI Great Sacred Light. When we study the nature of God, we realize that religions share a common conception of the divine. Other religions, such as Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Sufism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, believe the same under different wordings, such as light or energy, or divine consciousness, or the nothingness with no beginning, no end, or eternal. Now, the second principle of CAO DAI is love and justice. We know that God is love, and the divine law is justice. In the holy message, God said that I am love. You, children, are the body of love. And love is the key to nirvana, to heaven. Justice is the divine law. Justice is manifested as the karma law, or the golden rule. Golden rule is don't do to others what you don't want others to do to you. Love and justice constitutes an essential teaching in CAO DAI. At the entrance of CAO DAI temple, there is a painting of the three saints with the words in French, Dieu et humanité, amour et justice, God and humanity, love and justice. In the picture, the collaboration of the Vietnamese Tràng Trần with the French Victor Hugo and Chinese Sun Yat-sen is to show forgiveness and reconciliation. Humanity is to promise with God to abide in love and justice in order to be saved. Objectives of CAO DAI. From the two essential principles of oneness and love and justice, the objectives that derive are of three main aspects. First is unity of religions to solve the conflict. Second, human Tao is peace, which is creating peace in humanity. And the third one is divine Tao, is liberation or enlightenment. In order to understand the first objective of CAO DAI, we need to know the reason of the founding of CAO DAI. The reason of the founding of CAO DAI is explained in the following message from the Supreme Being. Formerly, people lacked transportation and therefore did not know each other. I then founded at the different epochs, in different areas, 5 branches of the Great Way. The way of humanity, the way of angel or local spirit, the way of saint, the way of immortals, and the way of Buddhas, each based on the custom of the race. At the present time, our transportation has been improved and people have come to know each other better. But people do not always live in harmony because the very multiplicity of those religions. That is why God has decided to unite all those religions into one, to bring them to primordial unity. Moreover, the holy doctrine has been, through centuries, more and more denatured by the people responsible for spreading it. God is so broken-hearted to see that human beings in the last 10,000 years have committed crime and subsequently suffer life after life in hell. Now God decided to come by himself to save all the humanity, not to leave anymore the holy doctrine in the human hands. The Supreme Being founded the 5 ways of the Tao by multiple manifestations as religious founders, as stated in the following messages. Nhiên Đăng Cổ Phật, or Dibankara Buddha, is me. Sakyamuni is me. Thái Thượng Ngôn Thủy, an ancient legendary immortal, the previous life of Lao Tse, is me, who is CAO DAI. God has come to the world under the form of human beings to found many religions. Under the name of Dibankara Buddha or Sakyamuni, God founded the way of Buddha. Under the name of Thái Thượng Ngôn Thủy, the previous light of Lao Tse, God founded the way of immortal or Taoism. All religions are beautiful, diverse manifestations of the same truth. Religions can be grouped in 5 ways manifested in 3 revelations. The 3 revelations, also known as actual age, include first revelation about 5,000 years ago, second revelation about 2500 years ago, and third revelation, which is a contemporary unification of the five ways of the Tao. The five ways of the Tao, as described in CAO DAI, consist of, first, the way of humanity, which teaches the fulfillment of the secular life, of personal, family, community, responsibility. This way helps the person to lead a harmonious life with himself, his family, and the community. The second way of the Tao is the way of local spirit, with the worshipping of the wise spirit. It's believed that virtuous persons and heroes after their death would come in spirit to help the human being. The third way is the way of saint, Abrahamic religions, in which service and sacrifice lead our life. Service, taught in all tradition, is expressed at its highest way in the way of saint. Attested to that are the widespread mission works of Christianity in particular, and the best example is the life of Mother Teresa. The way of immortal, with respect of the nature order, meditation for purification. The person in this way looks into leading a life conforming with the natural unfoldment of events and with attention to cultivation of personal virtue. The way of Buddha was the eradication of human emotion, eradication of greed, of illusion, and meditation to discover our divine nature. The person strives to shed away the multitude of adverse emotions due to the ego and desires in the goal of attaining absolute calmness and unfolding the Buddha nature hidden behind the secular turmoil. The first three ways deal mostly with our secular life. The fourth and fifth way involve a spiritual cultivation. The history of the five ways of the Tao is divided in three revelations. The first revelation about 5,000 years ago consists of way of humanity founded by King Fu Shi. The second way of local spirit is the way of folkloric worshipping. The third way, the way of saint or Abrahamic religion, is founded by Moses, founding Judaism. And the fifth way of immortal is founded by Thái Thượng Đạo Vương. And the fifth way is the way of Buddha by Hinduism, Divankara Buddha. The second revelation about 2,500 years ago, the way of humanity was founded by Confucius. The way of local spirit by Chiang Tai Kung. The way of saint, Abrahamic religion, is founded by Jesus Christ, Christianity, Muhammad, Islam. And the way of immortal by Lao Tse, and the way of Buddha, Sakyamuni or Gautama Buddha. And the third revelation is contemporary with the unification of first tradition, consists of, in the 19th century, the ecumenical movement, Theosophy, Unitarian Universalist, Unity Church, New Thought, Baha'i, which taught the unity of religion. In the 20th century, burgeoning and blossoming of grassroots interfaith movement, and most recently, the Đại Đạo Tam Kỳ Phổ Độ, or the third universal salvation of the Great Way, or CAO DAI, which bring to its culmination the notion of religious inclusion with the promise for spiritual joy and social harmony and peace. The Supreme Being said, I have now firmly resolved to come myself to save you and not leave anymore the holy doctrine in the human hands. And any one of us has God's Spirit inside ourselves. And the Spirit of God will guide us in our life. And the immediate purpose of the founding of CAO DAI is to resolve the conflict between religions because of the name of God. What's the principle and the reason of the founding of CAO DAI? We may understand the objective of CAO DAI as, first, unification of the 5 ways of the Tao in harmony and peace, ending religious conflict. Second, peace to humanity, or nhân đạo thái bình. Third, union with God or enlightenment, thiên đạo giải thoát. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Hong Dang Bui, a member of Dignitary Council of the CAO DAI Overseas, to present on the practical approach of CAO DAI.
I'm Dr. Hong Dang Bui from the Dignitary Council of the CAO DAI Overseas, and I'm honored to address to you regarding the practical approach of CAO DAI. CAO DAI offers the following approaches. The first is one may practice one or more of the 5 ways of the Tao as described earlier by Dr. Hong Dang Bui. Second, we need to observe love and justice. Third, we practice the triple-fold path. And fourth is the vegetarian diet as much as possible. And actually, fifth, or even the very first one, is as we are practicing these practices, we need to understand the oneness between us and God, Đức Chí Tôn, or the Supreme Being, and all in the universe. We need to understand that we all have that sublime seed of the divine deep in ourselves. So now, you have already learned what the 5 ways of the Tao were, what love and justice was. I will spend time to develop on the triple-fold path, or known also in Vietnamese language in CAO DAI as Tam Công. In that Tam Công, the first one is Công Quả, or service to humanity. Service to humanity is our practical contribution in the well-being of humanity. In CAO DAI, that service does not just for human being, but extend also to the whole universe, to animals and plants. But for human being, as human beings are consisted of 3 aspects, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual, service can be rendered at those 3 planes. At the physical plane, we send to the needy, we assist the needy food, clothing, shelter. We help to build houses, hospitals, schools, and temple and churches for their spiritual. For the comfort, the mind, and the emotion, any one of us can offer word of encouragement, understanding, assurance, a smile, or a friendly tap on their shoulder. At the spiritual level, we share teachings of morality, beauty, scripture, encourage the person to lead a virtual life, giving example of a meaningful, loving life. Service is provided unconditionally without waiting for rewards. It comes spontaneously from the love deep in ourselves to give to that love to the person and the universe. And we believe also that service will help us to pay up the karmic debt that we may have accumulated in previous life. So, one CAO DAI messages that we found in Đức Phạm Công Tắc holy teaching, and this is from a teaching from CAO DAI that is recorded in Mr. Đức Phạm Công Tắc messages, and it is found in the collection of selected CAO DAI messages 2015, page 148 by Bui and Bui. So the message reads like this: you do not need children to seek for great philosophy. Just look at the life of your human companion and try to serve and nurture. If you serve humanity with all your heart, the gate of heaven is already open to you. So now we come to the second branch of the Threefold Path, that is công trình or self-cultivation. Self-cultivation requires self-discipline in controlling our secular emotion arising from desire, hatred, jealousy, anger, fear that we encounter in our daily life. So we remind ourselves every day of improving our demeanor, our behavior, our attitude, so as to bring forward love and harmony to our companion. Self-cultivation also gives the perseverance in our acts of service to humanity and the whole universe, and in our effort in returning to our inner self through meditation. Self-cultivation is that courage that gives us strength to surmount difficulties while we search for the calm with our meditation. It is a necessary discipline for the success of the other two parts of the Threefold Path. The third branch of the Threefold Path is Kung Fu, or returning to inner self. CAO DAI offer this return to inner self in order to attain our goal in our spiritual journey. Meditation is a necessary exercise to find the divine essence in ourselves. We all inherit a spark of the divine spirit. That is the basis of our oneness with God, Đức Chí Tôn, and the universe. In order to unveil that spirit spark deep inside of us, we need to return to silence. We need to stay away from secular attachment. We need to calm down our noisy emotions. So, in Vietnamese, a phrase that really resonates in us is Phàm tâm lặng lẽ, thánh tâm sanh, which means when the human heart is calmed down, the divine heart will surface. If we practice the service to humanity and self-cultivation without the return to inner self, we shall miss the discovery of our sublime nature, of our divine origin.